All right, I think we're all set. So, hello everyone. My name is Jim Pearson. I'm the Senior Admissions Officer with University College Dublin. I'm based in Chicago. You may have gotten many emails from me in the past, seen my face at some of our in-person events or our virtual offer holder events that we've had this month. So it's been a busy time at UCD, and I know you're all very busy considering your college options, considering what you want to do for your next steps moving forward. And I'm here to help explore your options in liberal arts and sciences. It's one of our most popular programs at University College Dublin. It's also very complex because there's so many options within it. So we're here to talk through the liberal arts course, what it means, what it can offer you at UCD, and if it's the right option for you. So feel free throughout the webinar to put any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A. Either one works. We'll have time to take questions at the end so I can answer everything that's come up in your mind during the presentation then. At the end of the presentation, you're also welcome to unmute yourself, ask your questions out loud if you prefer that. So we'll get going in just a sec. The first thing I'm going to do is launch a poll to try and get an idea of where our students are in the room, or if you're a family member attending on behalf of your student, you can answer this poll as well. So I've just launched a poll to get an idea of what subject areas we're all interested in. The idea of the liberal arts course is that it gives you a lot of options. You get one common entry pathway, and then you get a lot of flexibility in choosing your subject and where you're going to go eventually. So we're going to talk through all the different options you have in LA&S. But if you want to fill out, you can select multiple options. If you really don't know, you can just pick one if you're 100% committed. So feel free to answer the poll and choose whatever subject areas you might be considering exploring. We can get an idea of where everyone's headed over the next few years if liberal arts is where you end up. And as I said, there are a lot of options. We'll talk through what it means to go through these different pathways and what's included in arts and humanities or what's included in social sciences, because those subject areas include a lot of different distinct subjects within them. So there's a lot out there for you. Liberal arts is, again, one of our most popular programs. So it really is a great opportunity for you to explore. It looks like we got some great answers for everyone. So I'll end this poll and I'll let you see the results of where everyone is. So I think business is one of our most popular courses for students to progress into out of liberal arts and sciences. But then science, social sciences, art and humanities all being up there in popularity kind of match with where most of our North American students are coming from. So thanks very much for sharing that poll. That's really helpful for me as we go forward to see what we might have questions about or what I might need to spend some more time on. So we're going to jump into it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this page. If you attended our admitted student webinar that we had earlier this month, this is a very familiar slide to you, and I hope you know your regional representative. If you live in the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, Central, or West regions, you have a regional representative that is there for you to connect with you. So my colleague Kendall looks after everyone in yellow on this map. My colleague Bridie is based in Chicago, and she's the dark blue in the middle, and Chelsea is out in Seattle, and she's the light blue. So they're here for you, living in your area, to connect with you and help you figure out what is the best option for you at UCD. And they can talk to you about the liberal arts and science course. They can talk to you about our direct entry programs or anything else. So if you have questions about accommodations, immigration, moving to Ireland, packing lists, all that, they're your first point of contact, and they're a great resource for you. If you live in the dark green in the Northeast region, you're not alone, and we haven't forgotten about you. One of our colleagues left for another opportunity recently, and we're filling her position. But myself and my colleagues, Kendall, Bridie, and Chelsea, are looking after you as well. So if you're from the Northeast, you still have a lot of support, but you can email the North America general email inbox, and someone will be able to meet with you virtually or connect with you in person when we're in the area. So you'll still have a lot of support as you go through this. And we're going to start talking about the liberal arts and science program now. If you have questions about other things, because there's a lot coming up as you make your decision about where to go, reach out to your regional rep and we can help answer those questions, especially after this webinar. If you still have questions about what's the best option for you, they're a great resource for you to help you out. So what is the liberal arts and science course? It is unique among most international universities. The typical format for international education at public universities like UCD is very siloed, very focused, and very direct. Most universities abroad in Ireland, in the UK, in mainland Europe, you really don't have a lot of flexibility. You go into your course, if it's biochemistry, art history, music, whatever it is, you never change, you never get the option to move around, and it's a really focused degree. And that is usually what most students going abroad like, because they want that commitment to a subject. They really like and are passionate about a certain area, and they want to focus on that and nothing else. And it's a great benefit of international education. But the liberal arts course offers a different pathway for you. It's a little bit more of a hybrid between what we might be used to in North America, and having a more broad spectrum array of options in the first year or two before specifying and going into, your higher level subject in courses and getting a really deep dive into the subject that you're really interested in. So we started this course 14 years ago. It was very small with just a handful of students. And last year we had almost 40 students join the liberal arts and science course. So you'll come in with a nice cohort of students. You'll all be in a shared experience. You'll get similar advising sessions at the beginning of the year, and you'll have that experience to be able to meet with other students, connect with your advisors, and explore your subject options at UCD. It is open to all students from non-EU countries, so we do have students from around the world that join the program, though the majority of students in this course are American, with a handful of Canadian as well, because it really does match what we're used to and what we expect out of university education in the US. So that's why we have a long history of US students coming into the liberal arts course, because it is a really familiar degree compared to what we're used to and what we expect when we're looking at US options. And it is made to be flexible. So there is a lot of flexibility built into it. And we're going to talk through kind of what your program will look like when you come to UCD in the liberal arts course and what your experience will be as you explore your different options. The first thing I want to do though is go through some of the UCD jargon. I'm going to be throwing out a lot of different terms throughout this presentation, and you'll hear these going forward as you explore UCD and when you get closer to registration and orientation, just to make sure we're all on the same page. So you have this experience, you know what these words mean. At UCD, a module is what we would call a class normally, so an individual class that you're taking or course. So if you're in, intro to anthropology, that is a module you'll take in your first semester. One module is typically 5 credits at UCD. When you get into later years, or if you do a larger, research module or a thesis module or capstone, it might be 10 or 15 credits. But generally, if you take one module or class, it's 5 credits. And most students will take 6 modules per semester, 30 credits total per semester, or trimester. So you'll hear both those terms interchangeably, trimester and semester. At UCD, we do technically have 3 trimesters, fall, spring, and summer. Undergraduate students typically don't have any responsibilities in the summer trimester. That's really just for graduate students that do their research or their internship in the summer. So you may hear trimester thrown around. I'll typically say semester with undergraduate students because you're really only looking at the fall or spring semester. A standard academic year is generally 12 modules total, 6 per semester or trimester, 60 credits total. So usually you'll take 11 or 12 courses or modules in each year at UCD. When you look at your experience at UCD, stage is generally equivalent to year, but not always. So stage 1 of a degree is the first year of that degree course, and it refers to the courses, the modules that you need to take in that first year of your course. If you move on to your second year at UCD, but you haven't completed all the modules for stage 1, you might be in year 2, but still be enrolled in stage 1 of a degree. So stage is not always the same as year. It usually is. But stage is referring to the place in the program that you're in. So it's a little bit different than the actual time that you spent at UCD, but we'll refer to the overall arc of the course. And then there are 3 types of modules at UCD in your course. So there's core modules. Those are modules that all students have to take. If you're going to get a Bachelor of Science in biology, all students have to take the same couple modules in the different stages. So you don't have a choice with those core modules, and everyone will take that to give you the same foundation. And then there will be a list of optional modules. So once you pick your course after you progress out of liberal arts, usually you'll have a list of optional modules each semester, and you can choose 3 or 4 that you're interested in out of a list of 5, 10, 15, 20. It can be a huge list. So if you are studying politics eventually, you may have 1 or 2 core politics courses you have to take every trimester, and then you'll have 3 or 4, and that's where you can choose to take Irish politics, US politics, or politics of developing nations, or politics and economics. That's where you get to explore your passions and what your interests within your course. And then elective modules are the modules that you take that give you freedom. Every student at UCD gets the option to do elective modules, sometimes only once a year, but that's where a student in chemistry can take Irish folklore, or a student in art history can take a business module. So that's where you get a little bit of opportunity to explore. They're not required. You don't have to take something else, but a lot of students will do that to follow their passions, take a music class because they're interested in music, but it's not part of your degree program. So that's a lot of the jargon. If you Google or search the UC website for the UCD Jargon Buster, that's kind of this part of the presentation, just in a PDF form that walks through a lot of the different terms that you'll hear at UCD that we throw around a lot that are important to know as you explore your options with us. And now this graphic is kind of the overview of the liberal arts and science course. So this is where we're going to start diving into what liberal arts has to offer you and what it can do for you and what it can't. So when you're coming into liberal arts, when you arrive on campus in September of 2024, you'll be in year one, stage one of liberal arts and sciences. All students will start in that 1 year, and then you have that year to start exploring your options. So that's where you'll take a handful of courses each semester. You'll get to explore the different courses you might be curious about. So if you're thinking about business and you're thinking about arts and humanities, you'll take a few of each and you get to see what you like. If after your first year you've committed to one of the courses on the left, agriculture, food science and human nutrition, science, social sciences, or if you want to accelerate your arts and humanities studies, you'll move out of liberal arts and sciences and go into that subject in year two, stage two of that degree, and you progress through and get your degree course, your degree in that subject. If you're looking at one of the courses on the right, architecture, business, engineering, or arts and humanities, then you have a second year in liberal arts and sciences. You're still in the liberal arts and sciences cohort for that second year. And then in your third year is when you progress into your subject. So depending on the subject that you take or that you're interested in, you'll have more or less time in the liberal arts and sciences curriculum. Um, it also will vary, and we'll talk about this as we look at each different subject area a little bit later. It will really change the courses, the modules that you're allowed to take in your first year in liberal arts and sciences, because if you do want to do one of the courses on the left where you're going into that course in year two, then you're going to have to start specifying a little bit earlier. Whereas if you're going into business or arts and humanities, you have a little bit more time. Right in the middle, arts and humanities is a little bit confusing because there is an option to go into arts and humanities after the first year and graduate in 3 years. Arts and humanities degrees are typically a 3-year degree. And if you came into liberal arts and realized suddenly in September that you don't want to do anything but arts and humanities, you can essentially start doing that 3-year arts and humanities degree in liberal arts and sciences. That's pretty rare. And if you really know you want to do arts and humanities, you should talk to us and we can get you straight in to the arts and humanities course to do a 3-year degree. But there is an option there. Most students will do arts and humanities over 4 years because you get that extra year in liberal arts and sciences to explore other options and see what you like to do. So that's the broad overview of the course. You might have already seen this graphic in a lot of different formats and a lot of different presentations. That might be why you're applying to liberal arts and why you have an offer to it to begin with, because this is what you're looking for. All these options, all these different opportunities for you. Before we move on, there are a few things that I have to point out that are not available through liberal arts and sciences. UCD has a ton of degree options and tons of options within liberal arts, as we'll talk about. So you're not missing out on a lot, but there are courses that you have to go in direct entry. The flexibility of liberal arts doesn't match with the rigor and the packed curriculum of these courses. So if you're interested in something like the courses listed here, this is just an example. It's not exhaustive, but these are the most popular courses that aren't available. Things like psychology, our law curriculum, which is an undergraduate degree at UCD, computer science, all of our health science courses, sustainability, sustainable food systems, city planning, commerce international, and then our BA humanities courses, which are distinct from the arts and humanities courses that you can do through liberal arts. The BA humanities are things like English with creative writing, music, film, and drama, architecture, art, history, and history. Those are courses that are 4-year degrees that have a kind of distinct curriculum because they offer a mix of different courses that have to be done direct entry. So if these are subjects that you're really interested in, you should talk to your regional rep or myself, reach out to North America, and we can talk about your options to progress into one of these subject areas because this isn't something you can do through liberal arts and sciences. We do have a lot of options available in LA&S, but there are some limitations to that, and you got to know those limitations before you go into it. So these are the most popular courses that aren't available there, but there are opportunities to explore these subjects, to take elective modules and things like sustainability or commerce, but you'll have to explore that. The Commerce International course, by the way, is similar to our business and commerce courses. The difference is that it's a 4-year degree and includes a minor in a language and a study abroad experience. So that's why it's not included with liberal arts. You can progress into the standard commerce course through liberal arts and sciences, but not Commerce International, which is a distinct course at UCD. So this is kind of the idea of the progression and what you'll have to do in your years at UCD. So after you've gotten to UCD in September, you've started taking your classes, you're towards the end of your first year. If you decide you want to go into agriculture, food science, human nutrition, science, or social sciences, that's when you'll declare for one of those pathways. The end of your first year, you'll work with your advisor in liberal arts and sciences and declare that you're going progress into one of those subjects, and then you'll switch into that course so that when you arrive back on campus in September, which would be 2025, so your second year, you'll progress directly into stage 2 of that pathway in year 2 at UCD. You have to pass the prerequisite modules during year 1 for all those courses. So we'll talk about some of those prerequisites and courses that you have to take. And if you pass the modules that are required for the program you're going into, then you're good to go. So one of the distinctions with liberal arts versus some of the more general entry pathways you might have explored with in the US is that if you want to go into one of these subjects and you pass the required modules that you have to take, you can go into it. You don't apply to transfer into food science or apply to transfer into science. There's not a limited number of places. There's not a limitation in whether you can go into one of the subjects. It's just based on making sure you have the prerequisites to go into the next stage. And if you do, you're good to go. You can go into it. So it's very different than, the university that I went to as an undergrad, where students that came in general entry had to apply to the School of Business, and maybe you wouldn't get in if you didn't have the right grades or something. So for us, it's really just about having the prerequisite modules, and it's not a question of whether you'll have space in the course. If you're not interested in one of those courses on the left, then you go back to campus September 2025. You'll start exploring more of these subjects, and then at the end of year 2, you'll declare for arts, architecture, business, or engineering, and then you progress into stage 2 of that pathway in year 3. And this is where that differentiation between stage and year comes in, because when you're doing something like arts and architecture or business, those are typically 3-year degrees at UCD. Pursuing those through liberal arts and sciences means that you do an extra year at UCD, so you graduate in 4 years, and those first 2 years are where you get all that flexibility to take a bunch of different courses. So that's where you'll be in your 3rd year at UCD that next year, but you'll be in stage 2 of the degree course. So you'll take stage 2 and stage 3 degree courses in that subject. And again, just like on the left, you have to make sure you've passed the prerequisite modules for the course you're going into, but you have all of your 1 and 2 to take and pass those modules. So you get a little bit more flexibility to spread those required modules out over time, to retake a module if you have trouble with one of them, so you get some more time to think about it. Something that is important to know this, and something that's part of that prerequisite idea, some of the courses that we offer, specifically business, engineering, science, and some of our social science courses, like if you go into economics or statistics, have a very maths heavy curriculum. So there is a requirement to be really strong in maths, to have experience in it, to be able to succeed in these courses. If you don't meet minimum requirements, which you'll talk with your advisor about when you are choosing your modules for fall semester, then you'll have to take an introductory maths course in your first 2 semesters at UCD to make sure that you have the minimum required maths to succeed in the course. And if you're not succeeding in that, then you may not be able to progress into your course. That's one of those prerequisites. And I think something that we see more students struggling with than anything else is the difficulty of the maths. So going into a STEM course or something that requires a lot of math and statistics, making sure that you're strong and confident in those math areas and able to succeed is an important part of choosing what you're next going to do for your next step. So that's kind of an overview of what the experience is and what your options are. So now we're going to talk more specifically about the different courses, the different subject areas that are available, and what it looks like in your first year to take or pursue some of these subject areas. So the first thing we're going to start with is arts and humanities, and that's a very broad term that covers a ton of different options. This chart here lists the different subject areas you can study in combination with each other in arts and humanities. Arts and humanities at UCD is done as a double major. So you always do 2 subjects. If you go through liberal arts, you'll explore a bunch of subjects in your first 2 years. And then in your 3rd year, you'll progress into BA Arts and Humanities, and you'll choose 2 subjects to be your double major to graduate with. So you get a Bachelor of Arts Joint Honors in Drama Studies and Art History, or History and Irish Folklore, or a bunch of different areas. You can see that there's not check marks in every box, so that might mean that a subject combination isn't available, usually due to timetable restrictions or not being able to take modules at the same time or faculty conflicts. So something like Celtic Civilization and Drama Studies isn't available this year, for example. But you can see there's still a ton of choice here, and this is one of the more honestly confusing parts of the degree course, because there are so many options. Do you really love film studies, but you also really love drama, but you also love music, and maybe you like history, and you have to explore all those. And not only do you have to decide to go into arts and humanities, but you have to decide to go into 2 different subject areas in arts and humanities. So there's a lot of choice here. You will get the option to explore these, and that's kind of the benefit of doing the BA Arts over 4 years through liberal arts, is you get your first year and your second year to explore all these different subjects before you commit to one of the subject areas or to the two subject areas and move on to your double major in your third year at UCD. So there's a ton of options here. All of these are great arts and humanities courses with tons of options for you. And this is generally the structure of what your timetable, what your courses would look like in your first year at UCD if you're looking into arts and humanities. So in the first trimester, the autumn trimester, when you arrive at UCD, we have a couple courses that we usually make standard for students that are going into arts and humanities or considering exploring it. We have a general Irish studies course, Ireland Uncovered, that's typically required for students, and then an academic writing course in the humanities area. And then your third, fourth, fifth, and sixth module, you can choose pretty much from anywhere. Most students looking at arts will do a couple of those in arts and humanities. Maybe you'll take Italian, or maybe you'll take, something like geography or art history. And then maybe you're also, torn between arts and humanities and business, and you might have your fifth and sixth module be in the College of Business. And then in the spring trimester, you do have to make sure you take at least 2 more arts modules, and then you get your third through sixth module. You get a lot of flexibility, and we recommend one of those are from a very different area. So something like social sciences, agriculture, architecture. So this is where you get a ton of flexibility, and you can see that flexibility here because you have 11 of your, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 of your 12 modules will be in anything. Doesn't have to be related to arts and humanities. So you do get a lot of flexibility in that first year. And this is an example of some of the modules that are available to first year students that are looking into it. So if you're interested in drama, maybe you'll take the theatrical event. If you're interested in German, you can take German language 1A or 1B, depending on your level of German, modern European history, exploring archaeology. So you get some time to explore and experience the vast array of subjects that are available in liberal arts. Something worth mentioning is that at this point, because I've talked a lot about the choice that's available, you do have support. The liberal arts and sciences program offices there. There's academic advisors in all the college that are available to you as you are exploring these options to help guide you and make sure you're taking the courses you need to progress on to the right stage. So you'll have guidance in this, but it really is great because you get a lot of time to explore your options and see what you really like. The one limitation to note in arts and humanities is that if you want to study French, you have to have taken French already to an advanced level, and we usually require students to have an AP French score of 3 or better to study French at UCD. So if you were thinking of exploring French as a subject option in UCD and any of our different subject areas, just know that it's for advanced students only, whereas you can start German, Spanish, Italian from stage 1 without any prior knowledge. Social sciences is very similar to arts and humanities in that there are a ton of options, and it's kind of a catch-all degree for a bunch of different opportunities to study multiple subject areas. And again, in social sciences, students will take 2 subjects to degree level. So either a double major or a major and minor. So that might be, this chart showing that you can do a major in archaeology with a minor in geography or social justice or mathematics, or a minor in art history, Celtic civilization, Irish folklore. Or you can do a double major in sociology and information communication studies, or major in politics, minor in Chinese. So again, there are a ton of options here and a ton of ways for you to explore the different opportunities within the College of Social Sciences. And there are almost too many options for you. So the idea is that you'll get this time in liberal arts to explore some of those. However, as we talked about, if you want to progress into social sciences, you have to choose that after at the end of stage 1, and you go into social sciences for years 2, 3, and 4 at UCD. So you can see this structure for year 1 is a bit different, and that a lot more of the modules that you'll take are prescribed to social sciences with a little less opportunity to explore different subject areas. So in your autumn trimester, there's 3 modules that you'll take that'll be within the College of Social Sciences, including Irish Studies and Philosophy, and then 3 of your modules can be from anything else. So this is where you get a little bit more chance. Half your modules can be in something else like business or science, and you can explore different options there. But when you get into second semester in liberal arts, if you're really looking at social sciences, 4 of your 6 modules will have to be in the social science area you want to go into. So that might be 2 politics and 2 archaeology, or 2 economics, or into sociology. And then you still get a couple courses that you can take in other subject areas, but you can see you do have to start choosing your options a little bit earlier here. And this is a list of some of the courses that are available through the liberal arts and science program. If all of these tables that I've been showing the last few slides look familiar, we do have a PDF that lists that I pulled all this from that lists all the courses that we offer, the subject areas you can go into, the modules you can take. So this is available on our website that I can link to you at the end of the presentation. So there is a lot of options to kind of look through this at your own speed outside of the presentation here. But back to social sciences, there are a ton of opportunities here, but again, you'll take two subjects within social sciences to degree level to get your bachelor's degree in those two subjects. So you'll have to take more of the courses in those subject areas like economics, philosophy, sociology in your first year before you progress on. We're going to do another course that is a catch-all for a ton of different opportunities. There are 27 different subject areas within the College of Science. Almost all of them are available through liberal arts and sciences. There's a lot of options, and we kind of group them into biological, chemical, and mathematical sciences. And all of these courses are available to you to explore through liberal arts and sciences. So there are a lot of opportunities here, and depending on your interests in science, you can explore all of these or some of these during your time in liberal arts and sciences. Again, this is another course that you have to progress into after your first year in liberal arts and sciences. And it is a rigorous course, so there's a lot more prescription in your first year to make sure you're meeting the requirements for year one in science. So in your first trimester, you will take Principles of Scientific Inquiry, which is a mandatory course for all students starting in science or interested in science. And then you do get flexibility to take the other 5 modules that autumn trimester in a bunch of different areas. A couple of those will probably be science, and a couple of those might be other subject areas like agriculture, social sciences. But then in spring trimester, we have 5 modules from science as part of your timetable to make sure that you're ready to progress into science after year one. So this is one of those subjects that you do have to commit to a little bit earlier. I think in my experience, the students that want to go into science through liberal arts are committed to that from the very beginning and aren't really exploring a lot of other options. But if you're very torn between science and music or science and a very different subjects, you do have to make that decision pretty early once you arrive at UCD. So you don't get as much flexibility to explore your options as some of the other subject areas. And again, there are a ton of options within the College of Science, so geology, chemistry, math, physics, all those options available to you. You do have to choose one of those subjects, so geology, genetics, pharmacology. So you will have to narrow down your choice, but you do get a lot of flexibility to explore some of these in your first year to make sure you're in the right area of chemistry or the right area of biology before you move into your subject area. Now we're getting into one of the subject areas that gives you a lot more flexibility because again, you progress into business after your second year in liberal arts and sciences, so you get a lot of time to explore your options. We recommend students take a few more business modules in their first year to make sure you're interested in this, that you meet the requirements, that you're committed to it. But you do get flexibility to take courses from a broad range of subjects in your first year and then your second year. So we do have a few modules that are a bit more general. So like our Ireland Uncovered, our studies course we recommend for business students. And then we do have a first year business module in your first trimester, but then you get some flexibility to take courses in a bunch of different areas. And then in spring trimester with business, half your modules might be business and half might be something completely different. And you do get a lot of time to think about this and make sure you're in the right area. There's a student I worked with for years that's currently in arts and humanities, but he was torn until the very end of year 2 between business and arts and humanities and basically split all his modules for his first 2 years between those two subjects before committing to studying history and the arts and humanities program. So you do get a lot of time to think about the different options. And if you're really torn between two different subject areas, you get some time to think about it. There are a bunch of business modules you'll be able to take to explore. This is a list of the core modules that you have to take. So there are 12 modules here that are all required to progress into business. But again, you take 12 modules a year and you can take these over 2 years. So essentially half of the modules you'll take in your first 2 years in liberal arts will be business. If you progress into business, the other half will be anything else. So you do get a lot of time and flexibility to explore other passions and other interests, but you will have to take a lot of these courses. And again, as I mentioned, maths is a very important part of the business field and being able to handle the maths because you will take some finance courses and some maths intensive courses in business, making sure that you have those skills and you do well in those courses will be important for progressing into the business field. Again, our agriculture, and you're seeing the theme that there are a lot of courses within UCD that have a ton of options. If you're interested in agriculture, and based on the poll we did at the beginning, there aren't a lot right now of students that are interested in agriculture, but hopefully the liberal arts course gives you the flexibility to explore that and see if maybe you might be. Agriculture does include a lot of different courses. Some things that are very typically agriculture, dairy business, crop science, forestry, horticulture, but there are also courses within agriculture that are a bit more multidisciplinary or offer you a bunch of different options to explore things like the sciences within the agriculture field. Agriculture and agri-environmental sciences, sorry, is a really popular course for North American students because it blends environmental sciences, sustainability, ecology with the field of agriculture. So that's something you can explore in your first year to see if one of these agriculture courses, piques your interest, if it's something you might want to consider exploring later on. Agriculture is a field that you do have to declare after your first year at UCD. So you can see again, about half your courses at least will be in the field of agriculture. But this is something where if you're interested in science or biology, that maybe you'll take a couple different courses, and maybe you'll explore some of the agriculture programs like animal biology to consider going into animal science, and give you some options at the end of the first year to see if one of the agriculture courses is of interest to you and is something you might want to progress into. And there are, again, a ton of courses within the agriculture field. Food and nutrition and health sciences are really popular for students and something that you can explore through like food, diet, and health, or introduction to sustainable horticulture if you're interested in plant biology. So there are a lot of courses that you can explore with this course to help you move forward and explore other subjects. So that was a lot of information and kind of a little brief overview of the different options within liberal arts and sciences to show you what's available through the course, to show you some of the options and limitations that the program has. So now we've gotten to the point where you need to think, is liberal arts and sciences right for you? And it's not the right course for everyone. It's an incredible option for students that want flexibility, that want opportunity, and that want to explore different subjects. So if you want flexibility and you want time to consider your options, if you don't want to go straight into a course right away, which is the standard at UCD, liberal arts is a great option for you. So accept your offer, look out for updates over the summer, explore what's available through liberal arts and sciences, review the material we have, talk with our advisors, and then you can get an idea of what to expect when you get to UCD. So if that's where you're at, we can end this webinar and you can feel happy with the offer that you have and be able to move forward with it. But if you've gotten to the end of this webinar and maybe liberal arts isn't right for you, maybe you're thinking you actually want to go directly into a course like I absolutely love archaeology or English literature or agricultural sciences, then you still have options. You can connect with your regional rep to explore availability in other courses, to explore entry requirements to make sure you meet the requirements to progress into a certain course. Again, entry requirements do vary, so you have to meet the entry requirements to go direct entry into a course, and it'll be different than liberal arts. But if you meet the requirements for a course, if there's still capacity in that course, you can apply to a new course from now through August. So if you get to this point right now, after this webinar, email us and say, actually, I really want to go into one of the BA Humanities courses and do English with Creative Writing. We can help facilitate that right now. If you're in June, July, and you're thinking again that maybe liberal arts isn't the right option for you and direct entry is your best option, then email us and we can see if there's still an opportunity for you. Again, the later we get into a course, the less likely it is to be able to switch at this point. So it will depend on availability within the program. Some of our courses fill up because we do a rolling admissions process. But now is the time where you're most flexible. From now until August, you have tons of opportunities to change your course because it's just submitting a new course application and getting a new decision. And that's a pretty quick process now that you've already applied. After August, we start module registration. So module registration starts for current students mid-August and for new students usually late August, early September. So once you start that process, there's really no changing at that point, or it's incredibly difficult to change your major there. Then you're in the liberal arts course and you are locked into what's available to you through liberal arts. So, from the previous slide, we were talking about the courses that aren't available through liberal arts. If you're thinking computer science or psychology or something is your passion and you didn't realize you could study that through UCD and you didn't realize it's not available through liberal arts, applying to those right now, tomorrow might be the best option for you because those are, really popular courses with tight capacity limits. So it's worth thinking about that. And if all of this is still confusing to you or you're still overwhelmed with the amount of options, then reach out to your regional rep. talk to us. We can set up a meeting. We can talk about what your specific interests are, what it's like to study those at UCD, and what of the many courses we have to offer might be a good fit for you. So the time difference between North America and Ireland is a bit tough for an evening event to get current students to be able to speak, which we tried to arrange but weren't able to set up. But we do have some testimonials from students that went through the liberal arts course and were able to progress into their pathway and move on with their lives or go on to great opportunities after they left UCD. So like the student that ended up going into the Bachelor of Commerce, the business course through liberal arts and sciences, ended up staying at UCD to do his master's of business to get in aviation finance at UCD. Got to study abroad in New Zealand during his third year, so still got a great opportunity to explore the world in his program. Um, and he entered the liberal arts program because he was interested in the arts disciplines and a lot of different subjects and history, and wanted to explore those passions before he committed to business. So Patrick's a great example of having a strong affinity for the business field and wanting to go into that area, but still wanting to explore different options. And liberal arts let him explore those and reaffirm his passion for business, and then moving on to a very successful career. Mackenzie is a great option and kind of a great example of what liberal arts can offer you because she was very torn between a bunch of different subjects and subjects that are very different. So she loved biology, linguistics, music, and then in the end studied none of those and ended up pursuing history and folklore on the degree level. And having the flexibility to explore all those subjects and go into subjects that she wasn't even thinking of originally is a huge benefit of the liberal arts course because you get to explore courses, you get to explore options and passions and find things you didn't know were available to you. And I'm guessing most students on the call have never had the option to study an Irish folklore class because that's not a very popular option in US high schools. But you get that opportunity when you come to UCD and liberal arts, and maybe that is your passion, that's something you want to pursue. So she's a great example of not knowing what you want to study and that being okay, and UCD still being a good fit for you. So, with all that information, what do you do now? If you haven't yet, you can accept your offer, pay your deposit, commit to liberal arts and sciences, or talk to us about exploring a different course option. The UCD College of Social Science and Law is the home of the liberal arts and science course. Within that college at UCD, which is a very big college in the university, is the liberal arts and sciences program office. So they're the team that work directly with you. They help you register for modules. They make sure that you're in the right modules you need to progress on to the course that you want. Registration in UC, like I said, for new students will start in late August, early September, sometime start after the May 1st decision deadline. Usually in May or June, you'll get contacted by the Liberal Arts and Sciences program office to do a survey and kind of get an idea of your interests so they can start the registration process. So typically the registration process for liberal arts and science students is sending in your interests to the program office, them communicating to you what courses would be a good fit for a student that's interested in those subjects, if you're solely business or if you're split between social science and science or whatever it might be. But the mandatory modules that you'll have to take in year one, give you a list of modules that you could be interested in that you might want to explore, and then they'll help you register for those modules when we get to registration time in September. So they provide that individualized assessment and advice for you as you progress forward. So you do get a lot of support. You'll have the opportunity to work with them and also work with your regional reps while you're still in the States up until you get to campus in September to make sure that you're in the right place and that you're well taken care of. So you have a lot to think about in addition to all of this and all the questions you might have about liberal arts and sciences. You have to think about the rest of the full student experience, about immigration and travel and packing and all that. And that's what we're here for. So you can reach out to us if you have questions about that, and if you have questions about the liberal arts program.